Do you have ice cubes in your freezer? Do you ever feel guilty about popping them in your drink and sending them to a watery grave? Well, today I'm going to tell you a story about ice cubes in the real world that might make you stop and think about paying ice cubes just a little bit more respect. My name is Donald Slater and I'm a glaciologist at the University of Edinburgh. That means that I study the life cycle of real-world ice cubes. Now, the world has two enormous ice sheets, which we could think of as huge stores of ice cubes. These ice sheets are Antarctica and Greenland. Antarctica is the larger of the two, but in my research and in this 5 minutes, we're going to focus on Greenland. Greenland, after all, is plenty big enough. It's home to about as much ice as 100 million of the ice cubes in your freezer. That's about the same as the number of grains of sand on Earth. The story of every last one of these ice cubes actually begins in the ocean when water evaporates. The evaporated water forms clouds. The clouds are transported over the Greenland ice sheet, and if it's cold, which it usually is, then the clouds give snow. The snow accumulates on the surface of the ice sheet, and over hundreds of years, more snow falls on top, and the old snow gets buried. The heavy weight of the new snow compresses and squeezes the old snow, transforming it into ice. Thus are real-world ice cubes born. Now, you might think that the life of an ice cube is from this point quite boring, but it does get to travel, albeit slowly. Like any heavy object under gravity, ice moves downhill. This flow of ice is like a giant, slow-moving conveyor belt, transporting ice over thousands of years from its birthplace in the centre of the ice sheet to the edge, where the Greenland ice sheet meets the ocean. As our ice cube and its many friends approach the edge of the ice sheet, anticipation grows at the exciting happenings to come. But, unfortunately, the ice cubes are also rapidly approaching the end of their lives. At the edge of the ice sheet, they are ejected spectacularly into the ocean as vast icebergs, while they will gradually melt back into liquid form. A single iceberg might contain as many as 100 million ice cubes, and so this is not so much a single passing as a mass ice cube extinction. And while it might take thousands of years from birth to reaching the edge of the ice sheet, once into the ocean as icebergs, their life will be over within a few short weeks or months. But all is not lost, for two reasons. First, although sad, the loss of these ice cubes is part of a perfectly natural cycle. The ice cube has returned to where it originally came from, and, given time, it can be reborn as a beautiful, fresh ice cube and could go through the cycle all over again. Second, as these ice cubes die, they leave tiny, almost indetectable signatures in the temperature and salinity of the ocean. Scientists like me can sail around the edge of the ice sheet and lower sophisticated instruments into the ocean to pick up these signatures. And once we download the data onto our computers and do the analysis, we can understand how and why these ice cubes die and how this affects the giant ice conveyor belt that brings ice into the ocean in the first place. Okay, but why should you care about these tiny ice cubes? Well, just as the overall health of a civilization is measured in births and deaths of people, so the overall health of an ice sheet is measured in the births and deaths of ice cubes. Currently, human greenhouse gas emissions are speeding up the conveyor belt that transports ice from the centre to the edge of the ice sheet. This means that more ice cubes are dying than are being born. Over time, the store of ice cubes is diminishing, so there's less ice in Greenland, more water in the ocean, and sea levels are rising. And, because the life expectancy of an ice cube is measured in thousands of years, our actions now will affect ice sheets for thousands of years to come. Representatives from around the world will be meeting in Glasgow in November for COP26, which is a huge and crucial international climate conference. The policy decisions made and the emissions targets set will determine the fate of countless millions of ice cubes in the Greenland ice sheet. Although small and far away, the life and death of these ice cubes will play a big role in determining all of our futures.